Hello, Jamil. Are you there now? You can
Yeah,
so that we would
yeah,
maximize
good evening.
40 minutes. Yeah.
All right, so we can start, right?
Yes, please, you can go ahead.
All right. Hello everyone. I hope you are doing very fine. So as I've given a brief introduction about myself earlier, I'm Jami Adeleke and I'm a data analyst. So I will not want to waste much of our time because of the free version of Zoom that we are using. And of course, within some minutes, it's going to kick us out. So let's just kickstart. So like I mentioned, we are going to be working with Excel. So, and what we are going to be doing in Excel is data analysis. And like I mentioned, there are two different categories of data analysis. We have visual data analysis and statistical data analysis. So, for the visual analysis is just like a pictorial forms of analyzing data. And the statistical analysis is just using calculations and doing some kind of statistical operations to, get insight into a particular data set. So the visuals part of the analysis is what we are going to be doing, and that's our interest for today's class. So to dive in, let me share my screen so that I can show you the snake of what we are trying to. Um, so I don't know, Miss Joseph, can you allow me to share my screen? It seems you've
Okay.
disabled the access. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that right away. Yes, you
And while you are doing that, please, if you're on the call, can you yeah, okay, can you just use an emoji to signify that you are following, please? Um, please, hello everyone. If you're on the call, just use an emoji to show that you are on the call, and
okay, Jamil, you have the screen already. Yeah.
all right. So my screen is showing already.
Yes, we can see it.
All right, so that's very good. All right, so this is what we are going to be recreating. This is a simple dashboard in Excel, and this is what we are also going to be creating. So we have the data set already, and so like I mentioned, when you have a particular data set, the essence of you analyzing the data is for the data to be able to communicate a particular information to the stakeholders or to the audience that are viewing those analysis. So I will start from scratch. I will do these things from scratch. And for some of us that we are beginners or we are new to Excel or we are not even familiar with analysis at all in Excel, I'm going to explain using some basic terms so that we can get all those explanations better. Please, if you don't understand, just simplify so that we can unmute you. Maybe you can ask any questions that you don't understand or anything that you have to need clarity on. So just to dive in, so this is what we are going to be creating. So this is a particular dashboard. It's a very simple dashboard, and like I mentioned, it's being created in Excel. So this is a superstore sales analysis. So a particular superstores consulted us to help them build a dashboard like this. And one of the things that we are able to get from the data set is the total revenue that the store is making for a particular year, their total cost that they spend in their items, the total profits, and the total quantity. And the clients want to understand who are those customers as a customer rep that are actually making them much profit on yearly basis. So they have customer reps as well. So the dashboard is showing that Matthew is the one that makes highest sales for a particular year, and he has a very highest score here. And also they are interested in knowing their sales by region. So they have different region, and they want to know which region is getting them more sales. So we also view their profits also by region, and we also let them understand that on a month-on-month basis for a particular year, we help them calculate differences, and you can see that April has the highest sales in percentage, while March recorded a very decreased in their revenue for that particular year. And also for revenue by store items, it seems that binder is the one that has the highest contributions to their revenue. So all these things are things that actually make sense. And just looking at this is the data set actually. So just looking at the data sets, they may not really understand what all these tables or all these figures are saying. But because they are able to see it in a dashboard like this, it gives them more sense. It communicates more information, a very important information to them than just seeing the figures. And they can even slice it by their year. They can slice by um
Sorry, I think I was trying to mute others with their background noises, but I think I can't do that once you become the host. You have to be the one to mute them as well. So I will just make you the host again, and then you would probably have to watch out for people with background noises and mute them. So sorry, you can share your screen again, Jamie. And you might have to admit people. You might have to admit people waiting in the waiting room. Is that possible? Can you combine all that, like the presentation and also checking out for people trying to join the meeting and muting people? I wish I could do this, but you're sharing the screen and you're the host. Hello, Xiaomi. Please mute yourself. Xiaomi 223106. Alimi, you can mute yourself, or Jamie, just try to do that before you continue so that the noise won't keep interfering. Yeah, thank you. You can go on.
yeah. So just to continue, I believe you can all hear me, right? So just to continue, like I mentioned, so just giving them the data sets may not really make sense to them. But with the dashboard, they'll be able to get a better information into their analysis. I mean, their sales analysis. So they can filter by years, maybe 2014. Consider everything is changing. The figures before was not uh was 19,000 before, but when I click on 2014, it changed to 11,000. So these are the things that we are going to be doing from scratch. So not to waste much of our time, I already have our slides that we are going to be, sorry, our PowerPoint dashboard that we are going to be using for the class. And so these are all the course outline. These are the things that we're going to be looking at one by one. And I've done the introduction. So we look at basic function in Excel, the PowerPoint, Power Pivots in Excel, creating reports, creating dashboard in Excel, slicers interaction, exporting visuals. Um, um,
Hello, Jamie. You can please continue.
Oh, sorry that I was muted for some time. I believe you can hear me now. Um, so yeah, just to continue. So as I was saying, we have all these things that we're going to be doing, all these things that we're going to be looking at one by one from start to finish. So this is the data set we're going to be working with for today's class. And so in this data set, we have the order dates, we have the region, we have the rep, we have the item, we have the unit sold, we have the unit price, and we have the cost. And don't forget that, like I mentioned, we are going to be recreating this dashboard. So one thing that I want us to note first is that in this dashboard, we can see that we have revenue, we have profits. So there are some missing data here in this particular data set. So the reason is because some of them are actually created from scratch themselves. So we are going to start our analysis with that. So like I mentioned in the PowerPoint that I just shared, we have basic functions in Excel that we are going to be looking at. And part of the basic function is how to use, how to do multiplications and how to replicate any functions that we do to form all across the cells. So to do that, let's say I want to know the revenue. The revenue is not here at all. But of course, I don't know, most of us should know that in our calculations of calculating a revenue, we have revenue, to get the revenue, it is price times quantity. So this year now, they said that we have units sold. So the unit sold is the quantity, while the unit price is the price. So to get a revenue, so what we are going to do here is, let me just type revenue here as a new column. And from here, I'm going to now calculate my revenue by, so if you want to calculate the basic functions in Excel, click on the cell that you want to calculate the formula from. So just click on that cell, press equals to first. So once you press equals to sign here, then click on, don't forget, I want to try to get the revenue by multiplying the unit sold and the unit price. So I have to press equals to, then click on this the first quantity. So to multiply, the symbol for multiplying in Excel is to write star like this. So that is times unit price. So that's the unit sold times unit price, and that's quantity times price. So I'll just press enter, and you can see I already get my revenue. So to do that, we have a lot of data sets here. I think there are many to some extent. So we can't be doing it one by one for all of them. So one of the advantages of using Excel is that it can help us to do all those calculations across all the cells without us trying to do it ourselves one by one. And how we can do that is by just clicking on this first cell. So I will just double click like this. You have to make sure that this plus, this plus now is different from this other plus. So you have to make sure that this plus is showing. So once this plus is showing, just double click. And it's going to, you can see, it has multiplied everything across all the cells. So if I should double click on this cell now, you can see this time is this. If I should double click on this other one, this time is this. So that's how to work with multiplication function in Excel. So that is for revenue. Now, but I don't want, another thing is that I don't want this revenue to show as a formula. I want a situation whereby I can copy this revenue to another column without any issues. If I should try to copy this revenue now to another column, it's going to be telling me or it's going to give me some kind of error that is not really okay for me. So what I can do is that I'm going to right click here and copy as 1, 2, 3, just the value alone. So yeah, if I should double click now, you can't see all those just like unlike this one that I'm saying equals to e to something. Yeah, I can't see all of that. So that means that I've already I duplicated these values without the function itself. So let me just, since I've done that, let me just delete this column. Let me just delete that column. So that's it. So now we've created the revenue. Another thing that is missing in that dashboard is the profits. So to get a profit, I have to, profit is revenue minus your cost. So revenue is like the income that you are getting, and the cost is how much you are spending. So to get your profit, it is revenue minus. So don't forget that anytime that you want to do a formula in Excel, you have to first press your equals to sign. Then click on the cell that you're working with, press minus, and then click on the cost. And that's it. You press enter. So this is the profit. So which means that the profit for this particular item here is 247. So just like we did that time, to do for all of them as well, make sure that this plus icon is showing, then double click. Once you double click like this, it's going to calculate it for all of them. So just like we did for the revenue, to copy this, and once you copy it, right click here, then copy as 1, 2, 3. Once you are done, delete the function that we created. And that's it. So these are all the data that we need to create that dashboard. So I already have my region, my rep, my items, my units sold, my unit price, my cost, my revenue, and my profit. And to also note that, try to also note that this unit sold is also known as the quantity. So the quantity is the unit sold. So now that I've created this, so another thing that I want us to know, I've mentioned basic function in Excel, right? So next thing is to now teach us on how to create a power pivot in Excel. So what I did just now is a basic function like multiplication, subtraction, and duplicating your function all across your cell. That's like one of the basic functions in Excel that you can always play with along the line. So another thing that I also want us to know is power pivot in Excel. So power pivot in Excel is basically how to use a table to create an analysis. Let me just put it that way. How to use a table to create an analysis. So which means that before you can do a power pivot in Excel, you must have a table. So to create an analysis, like I said, how to use power pivot is like how to use a table to create an analysis. So before you can create a power pivot, you must have a table. Before you can create an analysis, you must have a power pivot as well. It's not a must though, but just to justify the definition I just gave. To create a power pivot, you must have a table, and then to create an analysis, you must have a power pivot. So what is the baseline? The baseline is to have a table, right? So now to now have a table, I already have my data set. So the only thing I just need to do is that I need to convert this data set, this raw data set, into a table. So and to do that, I will just have to come here. I will highlight everything here, and I'll just highlight it down. So, but I don't want to be doing this one by one. So what one thing you can just do is just to press Ctrl-Shift on your keyboard, and then press the down button on your keyboard. So once you do that, it's going to highlight everything for you from the beginning to the end. So you don't have to start highlighting one by one and start wasting your time. So just press Ctrl-Shift and then press the down arrow in your keyboard. So and after doing that, so just press Ctrl-T to convert a simple data set in Excel to a table. So just press Ctrl-T. So it's going to bring this dialog here. So it is saying that you want to create a table. Of course, you want to create a table. So it's now asking that where is the data for your table. So because you've already highlighted your data set, automatically Excel is going to determine where is the data set coming from, and from which place to another place. It's going to help you do that, so you don't have to worry about that. So another thing that is asking you is, does your table has an header? So for instance, now if you should look at this data set, I have order dates, I have region, I have rep, item, and all of that. So all those things are the header. So if you did not check this thing here, it's going to assume that all those things too, all those your header, is going to assume them as part of your data set. Like it's going to assume them as part of your figures or part of your data set themselves. But if you should check it, that means that it's going to separate them as an header for your data set. So I already have it checked. So I'll just press OK. And just boom, my data set has changed to a table. And that's our first step. So now, but creating this table doesn't mean that you've created a power pivot. But the first condition is that before you can create a power pivot, you must have a table. In fact, it is just it's just the table that is going to give you a power pivot. So it's just as simple as that. So once you create a table, you will see something like this table design. If you like, you can name your table. Let's say I want to call it fact table. That's just the name I want to give it. So you can just come here and say table name is fact table. Now, notice something. Your table must not have space. Your table must not have a space. If you should look at my own name now, it has a space. So I just want to try to experiment this. So if I should, so you can see that it brings an error because my table has a name. So it has a space. So to do that again, I just have to click on fact table. So without having a space, or you can put an underscore on it. So if I should press enter now, you can see now I don't have any issues again. So that's how to basically create a table in Excel. So like I mentioned, just to recap for some of us that are just joining, creating a table in data sets in Excel is just to highlight all your data sets. Once you highlight all your data sets in Excel, press Ctrl T. So Ctrl T is to create or to convert a data set to a table. So highlight all your data sets just like we did here, then create and then press Ctrl T and follow the prompt. So, and after that, if you like, you can name your table. But if you don't name your table, automatically Excel is going to put table 1 as the name of your table. So once we are done with that, don't forget what we are trying to do is that we are trying to create a power pivot. And like I mentioned, to create a power pivot, you must have a table. Now, we've already fulfilled the first condition, which is that we have a power pivot already. Now that we now have a now that we now have a table, next thing is to now create a power pivot from this table. So to do that, I will go to insert in my Excel file. So once you go to insert, you can see I have power pivots by your left hand side, your extreme edge here. You will see power pivots here. So from here, from this power pivots, you can just click on from table range or from external data source. Now, the meaning of this from table range is that, don't forget, we want to create a power pivot. So this power pivot that we are trying to create is asking us that, where do you want to pick the table from? Don't forget that the condition for creating a power pivot is that you must have a table. Excel is now asking us that, where is your table? You said you want to create a power pivot, so where is your table? So it's saying that, are we picking our table from this particular sheet, or we have an external data source that has a table that we want to use for our power pivot? And since we already have a table range, which is what we are working with on this, as you can see on this view, so we just have to pick from table or range. So, and if you are picking from table and range, you must have already highlighted all your table. So that's how it can catch. That's how your Excel file is going to catch the table all in all. So if you not highlight everything, it's going to catch the only one that you highlight. So you have to make sure that you highlight all your tables so that it can catch everything at once. So you now say from table or range. Automatically, it's going to determine. Don't forget that we already named our table the other time as fact table. So it is now saying that, okay, I know this table now. The table name is fact table, the one that you just created just of recent. Is it the one that you are working with, or you have another name or another table which has another name? So don't forget that we are working with fact table, the one that we just create just now and we highlighted just now. So with that, I'll just pick fact table. That's the name of the table. So we are fine with that. So choose where you want the power pivot table to be placed. So once you create a table and you want to create a power pivot, so the first thing is that it's going to ask you that, where do you want the power pivot to be placed? So do you want it on a new worksheet, or you want it on an existing sheet? So for simplicity's sake, I'm going to select that I want it from a new worksheet entirely. That's because it's going to make things easier for us. So I already select new worksheets. Now we'll just press OK. Automatically, it's going to create another sheet for me from this my file that I already have. So automatically, it's going to create the sheet for me. So let me just shift this sheet to this place. So I just put it here. So if you should check my left hand side here, we are going to see power pivot table along this side. So we can see that we've created our power pivot. It's as simple as, very simple, right? So the first step is that you must have a table. Once you have a table, you click on insert here. So once you click on insert, it's going to take you to, because the reason why I'm not saying power pivot table here is because I don't have any table highlighted. But if I should come to this sheet back now, you can see it is now active. So it's going to ask you that where do you want to pick your table from? So you just select this, and from there you can move on. So these are power pivots. This particular sheet here is our power pivot. Now, the other time when we are creating a table, don't forget that I mentioned that when you are creating a table, try as much as possible to say that you have an header. Tell Excel that your table has an header. It is that header that is going to use to recognize each of your columns, each of your variables that you're working with. You can see that in this place now, we have order dates, we have region, we have red, we have item, we have unit. So all the columns, all that header that we already created when we are creating our table, these are all the headers here. And adding being that we do not tell Excel that time that we have an header, it's not going to show all these things here explicitly. So that is one of the usefulness of putting or checking that your table has an header. So now that we have this, let's go back to our dashboard that we are trying to create. So the dashboard that we are trying to create is this. We want to know the revenue, we want to know the cost, we want to know the profit, we want to know the quantity, right? And we also want to measure the customer representatives by revenue. We are also interested in knowing the revenue by region, the profits by region, the month-on-month percentage of profits, and the percent of revenue by store items. These are the things that we are trying to do. Now, let's now go back to our PowerPoint. We've created the basic function. I've explained the basic function in Excel. I've explained how to create a power pivot in Excel. So the next thing is how to create a report in Excel. And from this, after this, we are going to explain how to create a dashboard in Excel. So now creating a report in Excel is very simple, very, very simple. So what we are going to do to create a report in Excel is that now it is there's a report. Some of us might have had the name report before. So report is the thing, all the analysis that you are going to use for your dashboard. There's a difference between a dashboard and a report. A dashboard is that visuals that shows you a combination of all your reports in a very appealing way. But your report is just the analysis of all the things that you want one by one. All the things that you want one by one. Now, don't forget that the dashboard that I showed you just now, there is a particular chart there that was showing us total sales. There is some that is showing us total quantity. There is one that is showing us, so each of those things are known as reports. Now, to do that, which means that to get a sales now, to get total sales, I must first create a report that is known as total sales. And to do that, in our power pivots here, you know that our name for sales is revenue, right? So just click on this revenue. Just, all these things has checkbox, each of them has checkbox. So just click on the revenue, which is just check this like this, revenue. So you can see sum of revenue. Automatically, it's going to give you like that. You don't have to stress, just check it. Maybe you do check. It's going to create a particular table for you like this. And it's going to sum, if it is calculation, if your column, your revenue, if it is in figures, it is in numbers, automatically Excel is going to add everything together all at once and then give it for you as a sum. So that's how we have sum of revenue. So, but yeah, I don't want it to be called sum of revenue. I want to give it a very nice name. So rather than just saying sum of revenue, I will just come to my formula by here. I'll just come to my formula by here and I'll just write sales. I want it to be called sales. Now, if you should press enter, let's look at something. You should press enter. That's just it, to create a sales for you. Now we have 19,627.88. I don't like this kind of formatting. I want to change it. So how do you change it? So you just come to your home menu here. you click on this comma here. So once you click on comma, I want it as a dollar, and you just press this dollar icon. Just press this dollar icon, and I don't want a decimal number. I don't want a decimal number, so just click on that to remove the this. And that's it. We are done. We've created the sales already. Now, after that, I also want to create another report. Now, one thing is that if I should click on this, if I should click on another sales here, another cell here, it's going to take all the power pivots. It's going to take them away. But don't forget, I still have other report that I want to create. So which means that I have to start creating another report. I have to start creating another power pivot again from the beginning. And that can be very stressful. So there's one trick that you can use in Excel. And that trick is that you should just copy this one that you've already done. Copy it. Just press Ctrl C. And then come to this place. Then press Ctrl V. You can see that you've already duplicated it. So rather than selecting, now I want to calculate the total profit. So rather than selecting the revenue, I'll just come here. I'll just click on profit. You see, so this is the total profit. In fact, you can see that this is very okay because here we don't need to start formatting the numbers again. That's already supposed to format it because we copy this and put it here. So just like we did for the sales too, I don't want the sum of profit. I just want profit. So press profit. Now there's something that I want us to note here. If I should click on enter, it's going to give me an error. Let's see. So it is saying that pivot table feed name already exists. And the reason is because if you should look at this power pivot here, all this thing that we have here, you can see that profits already exist in this place. Unlike revenue, there's nothing like sales in this place. That's why when I click enter for the first one, it did not give me an error like this. But having made that I already have a sales here, so it's going to give me an error. So in that case, one of the things that you can do is just to add a space in front of the profit that is out here. So just try to add a space here. And if you should add a space, click on enter. You can see that we've already solved that issues, and that's it. So similarly, I also want total quantity. So I will just copy this one again, come to this place, press Ctrl V to paste it. So I want quantity. Like I mentioned earlier, quantity is also known as the units sold. So I will just uncheck this profits and I will check the units sold, which is the total quantity. So that means that the total quantity here is 2,121. However, quantity is not always measured in dollars. It is just trying to tell us that this is the numbers of items that we've sold. So we don't need to have dollar here. So let me just come to my home here, and I'll just remove. I'll just make it a general listing, and if I like, I can put something like this here, and then remove the decimal number. So I also want to change the title. Instead of saying sum of units sold, I want to name it quantity. So this is supposed not to give me an error because we don't have quantity already in this place. So I'll just click on enter, and that's it. So this is the quantity. So I also want the total cost so that I can know how much the customer, how much the clients or the companies, how much do they spend for a particular year. So I will just uncheck this unit sold, and I will just click on cost here. So these are all the costs that they spend. So I'll just press cost. So yeah, this one is going to give me an error because cost already exists here as a name. So if I'm trying to rename this place too, let me just, I have to put space in front so that it doesn't give me an error. So that's it. So this is the total sales, this is the total profit, this is the total quantity, and this is the total cost. So for this cost as well, I'm going to give it a dollar sign here. And so that because cost is like a amount, so I can just put dollar sign there. So we are good to go. So I already have my total sales, I have my total profits, I have my total quantity, and my total cost. So given that, let's check our dashboard again so that we can know that we are still in loop. So these are dashboard. I have my total sales, my cost, my profit, my quantity. Now I need a report that is going to show me the top 7 customer reps by revenue. Like how much are all these customers all these customer reps, how much are they making for me as a company? So I want to know for each of the customer reps, I want to know how much are they making. So I'm just interested in the top 7. There are many of them. There are many. So I'm just interested in the top 7 alone. So to do that, I will come back to my reports page. So like I said, I don't want us to start redoing. We have to be doing this thing from the scratch again. So I'll just copy this particular pivot that we have. I will just paste it here. So I'm going to unselect the cost. Now, don't forget that what we are trying to do is that we are trying to create revenue by customer reps. Customer reps by revenue. I want to know how many reps do you have I mean how are the company, how is the company generating revenue by customer reps? So to do that, what I'm going to do is that I will select the rep and I'm going to select my revenue, which is here. So automatically I have something like this here. So I have many of them, Alex, B, James, and all of them. But don't forget, I'm only interested in top 7. So to get top 7, just click on this arrow here. I mean this arrow in front of row labels. Then come to value filters here. So navigate to the down below. You see top 10 here. So click on top 10. So I don't want top 10, I want top 7. So top 7 by top 7 representative by sum of I'll just click on OK. And that's it. So I already have them here as top 7. So that's how to create customer rep by revenue. So that's just it. And if you want to sort it accordingly, for you to know which one is giving much revenue, so you can always filter and sort them accordingly. So our session is going to expire in less than a minute. So I employ us to join back so that we can continue the session. All right. So see you guys. So you can end the call now and try to join by using the same link.